I'm going to invite the young people to come up. I've got a story for you. And we have one of our children that outweighs them all, I think. This is Lacey, by the way. She is truly a gentle giant. And what kind of dog is she? A Leonberger. Okay. That's familiar to the Logan family, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, Guy. Come on up. Yes, find a seat, and Lacey will lick your face or whatever you like. Yeah. Yeah. So, how are you guys doing today? Are you good? Well, welcome. We're glad that you're here. Pierce, good to see you, buddy. Yeah. I got a story for you. How many like to, when you're at home, how many of you like to help out your mom and dad? Do you like to do that? How about your brother and sister? Okay. Well, one time I was at Sabbath school, and then we went to church. You know, of course, that's what pastors do. And I was headed home, but while we were in church, we lived in Southern California. Okay? Anybody know where California is? Yeah. It's a long ways from here. Probably about 350 miles or so. Anyway, in Southern California, it doesn't rain very often. Right? But when it does rain, it rains a lot. Okay? In fact, when I was driving in Southern California, I saw these huge, big concrete canals or ditches where they had these big, and it was all dry. There was no water in them. And I thought, why do they have these huge in this place that's dry all year long until, when it would rain, they filled up. These big canals would fill up with water, and they would be dry most of the year, but all of a sudden they'd have these flash floods. Well, while we were in church that day, the rain was coming down, and it was you could hear it on the roof. It was just like somebody just was pouring water right over the roof. It was coming down quite heavily, okay? And we were driving home, and on the way home, the storm drains sometimes get plugged with leaves and things like that. And there in the road, there was a deep puddle. I mean, a deep puddle. And I saw people driving, but they were driving really slow through this deep puddle. And, the water was up past the doors and everything. That's how deep it was. Well, I thought I would be funny. I never do that, do I? I try to be funny, and so I told the kids, I said on the way home, I said, watch this! And I was going to drive through really fast and watch the water fly up, out of the wheels and stuff, right? And so I did. I gunned it, and I went right into that big puddle, and the water was flying up. And I said, this is so cool, when all of a sudden the car just went, boom, died right there in the middle of the puddle. And I had my suit pants on and my good shoes, and we were stuck in the middle of the puddle, and it was almost, the water starting to come into the car, because it was higher than the doors, and I was stuck. And so I didn't know what to do. And guess what my kids were doing? They thought this was a great adventure, and they were laughing. But I didn't know what to do, because I didn't know, I wasn't going to sit there and wait until the whole thing. So I needed help. And I sat there for a long time. It seemed like a long time. I said, what am I going to do? So we did. We prayed. And guess what? All of a sudden I looked in the rearview mirror, and this big truck came right up behind me and started pushing me right out of the puddle. And in fact, he pushed me. I got out. Once we got out on dry land, I got out and I went over and I said, "Thank you so much." He says, "Where do you live?" And I said, "Well, I live right up on the hill around the corner here." And he says, "Well, here, get in your car and I'll push you all the way home." And he did. He pushed me all the way home. And wasn't that nice? He didn't have to do that, did he? He probably, with the biggest truck he had, he could have just gone around me. But he decided to stop and help. Have you ever heard of paying it forward? What does that mean, Day? Yes, when you do something nice for someone, you ask them to do something nice for someone else, to pass it or pay it forward. And that's exactly what this guy told him. I said, "Let me give you some money for all your trouble." And he said, "No." He said, "No, absolutely not. You just, when you see somebody who is in need and needs help, you help them. So pay it forward or pass it on, okay?" So I want to ask you guys, no matter who it is that needs help, even if it's your brother or sister, please stop and pay it forward. Can you do that? Can you help? And then you ask them to pay it forward. That's called being a servant, okay? We're going to learn some more about that today, okay? All right. You guys could go back to your seat now. Thank you, Lacey, for being so attentive.